Alright. Hello, and welcome back to A Journey to King's Cross, a Harry Potter book podcast. This is Chapter 12, The Mirror of Desire. Erised. Sorry, I accidentally read that in reverse.
So funny.
Oh, come on. It's like the most basic ass Harry Potter fact of all time. Like, everybody knows the little, like, backwards thing of the whole freaking mirror and stuff. And I'm just sort of like, I still think it's clever. Okay, like,
It is clever.
I like this whole chapter. Like, the book and everything, the whole conversation with Dumbledore. I feel like something that doesn't get touched on at all is Ron's strength of character in this chapter. Like, he gets shown it once, and he's automatically suspicious of it the next day. Like, Harry needs needs a talking to from Dumbledore and everything about the dangers of this mirror and everything, but Ron's just sort of like, this is really cool. He gets, like, next day clarity and everything, and he's like, that mirror's sus. Like, maybe not a good idea. And he's pretty smart about it. He's like, Harry, that's a bad idea. No, he's like, hey, let's do this. Hey, let's go do that. Like, he instinctively picks up on it from, like, that Harry is dwelling on this and everything. And to be fair, it's understandable. I mean, if you were a poor orphan who got treated like crap at home forever and stuff along those lines, the idea of seeing your entire family around you would probably be more enticing than all the gold and green gods.
Where is this Ron in book 7 when he had the locket and couldn't realize that he was
Right.
being affected by it? Where was this Ron?
To be fair, I like to think prolonged exposure to that stupid locket thing probably wore him down a bit. Not to mention, he did have some unrealistic expectations when he signed up for that adventure. It's not like they got to enjoy... Like, this was, like, Book 7 was, like, the one time they're not dicking around at Hogwarts the entire year, so I can understand why that'd be a bit of a change-up for him. He's a school wizard, not a D&D adventurous wizard.
Is he a school wizard? Because...
He's book smart, not street smart.
He's not book smart either. We're aware of this. Hermione did their homework for like 3 years.
Just because he doesn't understand the theoretical applications of spellcraft does not necessarily mean he can't knock a person out around with a Wingardium Leviosa, a certain troll in book 1 or something.
Also, sheer dumb luck.
That was all skill. That was skill and talent, man. Ron
Also,
Weasley's out there beating people up.
let's be real. How many wizards and witches are just at home brewing potions?
I get the distinct impression that a lot of wizards in Wizarding Society are inhumanly lazy.
Probably. And yet they still don't use magic to the full extent of laziness.
Funny how that works out.
See, what we're also, misglossing over here is just Draco making fun of Harry for having no family. Like...
Gee willikers, Malfoy, do you have... insult him over something else, please. Get some new material. How that wouldn't annoy everybody. People comment, Malfoy going after that is such a continuous blow. By the 3rd or 4th year, Harry would probably be able to make every single insult that Malfoy could possibly throw at him before he does.
It's funny, I was watching this TikTok series about, how, basically implementing the, House of Lords into the Harry Potter fandom. And, the whole thing was, it was basically, it was mentioning just Draco really wanting to be Harry's friend and then putting his foot in his mouth about it. And then, got nervous, insulted Ron on the train, and then just never knew how to make it better. So, funny, I'm just reading one of the lines. It's when he's saying, I do feel so sorry for all those people who have to stay at Hogwarts for Christmas because they're not wanted at home. Imagine if he was actually I do feel sorry for you. I'm so sorry that you're not wanted at home and you're stuck at Hogwarts. Because he just doesn't know how to make it better. Obviously, we know he's being a little shit. But, what if?
Draco Malfoy, no social cues.
To be fair, his best friends are Crabbe and Coyle, who basically maybe you string together a couple of sentences over the course of 7 books worth of material. And both of his parents don't strike me as the type of people that are going to take their kid out on a play date with somebody else's kid.
Right? But, it's just... Like, we obviously know that he's being a little shit, but would have been funny if he's like, what if he really was sorry for Harry? Like,
I just realized something though, is that none of the staff members outside of the teachers seems to have the ability to dock points. Because Filch
true.
is never reported actually docking any points, and
Nope.
neither is Hagrid.
And he can't assign a detention. He can only recommend a detention.
Isn't that weird?
A little bit, yeah.
One would think that there
thank
would
God that Filch can't assign detention.
They'd all be in detention.
Literally.
I don't think there'd be a single point for the entire student body if Filch was allowed to take points.
They'd be making up Harry's kids would be making up the points that Filch took off.
Oh God, no! If that were the case, if he was caretaker while James and Sirius were in school, they'd be making up that deficit. Well, James and Sirius would have doomed his own grandkids basically if they managed to get into the exact same house.
Yeah.
We bring this up because when Hagrid was talking with Ron, and Malfoy comes up making fun of Ron about his family and insulting, I think, his mother? I don't know. At least his family.
He was
Snape comes up and docks points from Ron for trying to start a fist fight, but doesn't dock from Draco. And it would have just been perfect if Hagrid been like, well, that's not fair. 5 points from Slytherin.
To be honest, I don't think Hagrid ever took any serious points away from anybody during his tenure as a teacher. We'll have to get back on that one. That'll be one of those like little things.
To be fair, his job was in danger most of the time.
Yeah, but even still, he could have tweaked it to get another Slytherin, basically. Because Severus Snape took points away from the pettiest shit and stuff along those lines. What's Malfoy's dad gonna do for if
10 points
Hagrid's...
for Gryffindor for insulting my hippogriff.
Yeah.
From Gryffindor. From Slytherin.
Whoops.
That was the thing, though, is that Hagrid, towards the beginning of this book, gradually seems to lose a lot of his backbone, in a sense. I mean, there's a couple of scenes where he's, right terrifying. The night where they come to try and arrest him in book 6 comes to mind. But, I mean, if anybody accidentally hurts McGonagall, I can't really condone any actions that would happen to the individual stupid enough to pull that stunt.
Also, man, the wizarding community is... well, we can come across that in second book. Never mind, we'll come back to that.
I do like the fact that it's like a lot of the Weasley family shenanigans that Harry's just more like... I can almost see Harry watching like the twins picking on their older brother and younger brother, basically just being like, "Do, I'm just so happy to be included."
Look, man, Harry's their favorite little brother.
He really is. Harry's the unofficial favorite Weasley brother for the twins.
And like, Ginny would be the favorite sibling. Except for the fact that they're terrified of her.
Justifiably so, from what I understand, what I remember from the actual book and everything.
But yeah, no, when they all open up their presents, and they literally force Percy into his sweater, and don't even let him put his arms in it. They pin to his side, and they march him down.
They're like, what, 3 or 4 years younger than Percy?
I don't think...
2 years.
I'm not, I don't really know the... I can only imagine poor Percy got picked on by both of his actual older brothers, and so, the habit just continued on with the younger siblings.
That Percy's just the one getting picked on?
Yeah, he's just the... You
would think that
he's
Percy
the worst
would then...
Weasley.
You would think that Percy would then continue the tradition and, pick on the twins or Ron, and, no, he's just... He has no backbone.
I like to think the twins grew up size-wise fast enough that by the time Percy realized what was happening and stuff, it was already too late. He was doomed.
But that thought that Percy's just has no backbone and that literally everyone picked on him in the family tracks for when he leaves Hogwarts.
Yeah,
because he
refused
to believe about Voldemort in book 4 when he was in the Ministry.
Which is weird, considering he put so much respect on Dumbledore's name during the first, when he was actually a student there. Which is part of the reason I don't like him, because regardless of the fact that he got picked on by some of his, other family members and stuff, Percy was, as far as I was aware, Molly's favorite. She was so distraught when she defended him so much, basically, to the point where she was putting the twins down, which probably would explain some of their behavior towards Percy, because they kind of would have sensed that favoritism in a sense.
Well, of course, that's exactly why they mention it later when they.
Who's Fred and George? Next door neighbors?
When Percy becomes head boy and Fred and George don't become prefects, they get very upset about it. And then when Ron becomes prefect, Molly's like, "That's everybody in the family," and that's when they're like, "What are we, next door neighbors?"
But also, not everybody in the family. Ginny hadn't had a chance yet.
Fair. She forgot the freaking daughter that she worked so hard to have.
The one daughter.
She just was worried about the boys.
She really, she was...
She wanted a daughter, but she was focused on the boys' accomplishments, because honestly, she babied Ginny.
It wouldn't surprise me in the slightest. But to be perfectly honest, though, I like, Molly is such a human character in a sense, so don't get me wrong. I still like Molly and everything, but that does not mean I'm not going to bring up her shortcomings and her, her shortcomings when it comes to parenting. She took Harry in under her wing and stuff along those lines, and basically acted as a surrogate mother for the entire series for Harry specifically as soon as she became a relevant character in Book 2. And she's already helping him out a little bit in Book 1. I cannot take that away from her. And of course, not my daughter. I mean, out of all, if anybody had a right for her head, that woman's head,
yeah, I realize that.
It's Neville, in my personal opinion. But I'm not gonna frown at Molly basically taking out a housewife took out Voldemort's most powerful supporter basically, and I'm just sort of I could dig it.
I love Molly, and she is very, very relatable because she is so, even though she's magical, she's very human. Especially having 7 kids, and coming from someone who only has 2 children, the fact that she forgets things, I feel that.
Molly
but
also has
also,
ADHD. Have you seen all the projects she has going on in
But
her house?
also, Molly, it's the 1990s. Planners are a thing. You can definitely have a piece of paper in your kitchen that says, Ron hates maroon. Because that's the color robes he gets in 4. He gets maroon robes.
I wonder, did Ron mention that she knew?
Also, here's the other thing. Maroon on a redhead?
Horrible
Seriously?
color.
Oh no, I forgot.
Look, man, it's already
Green.
bad enough that
Green.
It's bad enough that Ariel's dress is pink, okay? She pulls it off really well, but
I chalk
still
that
a
up to
weird choice.
I chalk that up to the animators knowing their job when it comes to the Disney Renaissance and everything. But
still,
pink on a redhead?
Maroon on a redhead.
I mean, I guess it's better than orange.
So
that would be awful.
I have to admit though, Forge and Greg were obviously great characters throughout the course of this one.
They got in trouble enchanting snowballs to pelt students.
I wonder how proud they were of that realization when they found out at the end of the school year that Voldemort was on the back of that guy's head.
I forgot that the snowball pelts on the back of the head. It's a miracle they didn't get murdered.
Well, about that.
Voldemort's... Wow, too soon.
It was over a decade ago.
Too soon.
Fair point.
Ay.
Well, man, I have to admit, I like the fact that it's wild to me that it took this long for Dumbledore and Harry to have a full-on conversation. We're what, halfway through the book at this point?
I wonder if he sees Grindelwald in the mirror.
I think it was on record at some point that it was his sister.
Yeah, in book 7, they go back over the Arabelle. What's that her name? Ariana. They go over her story, and something happened that she exploded about socks. I don't remember the full story, but it does relate back to Ariana.
Which, I have to admit, I don't know, this is one of those things where I am a little convinced that she had this planned out, in advance, at least in terms of some of these plot points. I do have to admit, though, I love how Harry's so self-conscious about how other people view him. He's like, wow, that really was a personal question for me to ask the headmaster and everything, all the while forgetting that Dumbledore knows both his and Ron's most personal desire and stuff along those lines. You know what I mean? Full stop. no arguments, like he knows exactly what both of them want, and he even knows why they want what they want and everything. The idea, like Ron's character is pretty consistent in that regard.
Yeah, but it is a personal question, even if Dumbledore already knows. And like Harry's is a pretty obvious one, and I mean anybody could just look at Ron and his family and be like, that kid wants to stand out.
How unfortunate, he picked the one person in the entire school that would actually stand taller than anyone else, basically. Oh man, I have to admit though, I like the idea of like, if I ever, like, as much as I would love to hang out with my family on Christmas, I would love to have one Christmas at Hogwarts. They got Christmas gifts and stuff, getting to hang out with the teachers, and they get to, like, let their hair down a little bit, because Hagrid's out there flirting with Professor McGonagall and everything.
Yeah, I'm like, don't have to worry about doing any of the decorating.
Yeah. Even though some of the students did do decorating.
I think you could
Or not some of the students, but I meant professors.
Oh, I'm talking as a student. Oh, if you go to visit Hogwarts, you don't have to do any of the decorating.
That's true.
Like, 10 out of 10.
Oh, man. I love the visual moments in, like, the movie and everything where you get to see Hogwarts all done up in Christmas and stuff along those lines, and the Halloween. I know they're, like, small, brief scenes and everything.
Harry Potter is not a Christmas movie.
Yes, it is.
It is not.
If Die Hard is a Christmas movie, Harry Potter's a Christmas movie.
Die Hard's probably not a Christmas movie.
Die Hard is a Christmas movie.
Oh, no.
I've never seen Die Hard.
You need to see Die Hard before you can jump on that argument.
Ah, man.
I can do whatever I want.
I know exactly what I did.
It.
This is me stirring up the cauldron. I know exactly what I did. As far as I'm concerned, there's no bad holiday to watch Harry Potter.
Easter movie.
I don't think they actually do an Easter scene.
Not in the movies, but they do in the books.
They do Valentine's Day in book 2.
Okay, then it's a Valentine's movie.
I allow it. There's enough romance in these movies for a Valentine's Day movie. I mean, I like to believe that most of the people that are Harry Potter fans would probably consider sitting down watching Harry Potter and eating some cake and stuff. It was a great date night.
Let's get some butterbeer. Fuck yeah.
Ooh, we should probably get some popcorn. Maybe some chocolate frogs.
Yum.
Ooh boy. Yep. The more I talk about it, the
Stop
more.
passing the Birdie Bots.
Aw, where's your sense of adventure?
I've had them. They're gross. Pass.
Oh man, I'll eat them.
No, I don't want to spin the wheel on my jelly bean snakes.
I'll eat them all at once.
Okay, well,
because I'm just crazy.
When you
like
vomit,
that.
we're just gonna eat our.
I might get that flavor.
Also, buttered popcorn is a terrible flavor.
But it's a great snack.
Toasted marshmallow is a better one.
Well, yeah. I just meant buttered popcorn jelly beans. Disgusting.
We're kind of leaning towards the idea of actually doing a commentary and like actually watching like doing a Harry Potter movie, turning the volume onto our headphones and everything, and actually doing a commentary while we're actually watching the movie. Since it'd probably be a little easier for us to go through it and everything. So that's where we're kind of learning. So you might actually hear me munching on some popcorn and maybe drinking some butterbeer while commenting. Because when I watch any movie and stuff, I can't shut up at the best of times. I might as well put it out there for the rest of you people to suffer through.
And he's insufferable at the worst of times.
Oh, you do care.
I was gonna at first I thought I hurt your feelings, and now I know I didn't.
It'll take more than that.
Slugs.
Wrong movie.
Don't try that spell with a broken wand.
It might backfire.
Alright, I'm gonna get this train back on track. Can we talk about why
Hogwarts Express?
There's a freaking restricted section in the library? Like, what are they trying to teach these kids that...
Teachers need to do research.
Don't you think the magical world should have their own library for, like, when the kids are not in school? When they're adults?
Books that were collected over the ages that eventually were cycled out due to changing times. But they were still Hogwarts books.
Why is there a book that screams?
Maybe it only screams if you aren't supposed to be reading it.
There's got to be some semblance of... Like, I get the distinct impression there's probably some alarms and sensors and stuff to make sure, like... Before Mrs. Prince?
So I do understand your point.
Prince goes to bed. She puts a charm on...
Because students can read restricted books.
Yeah,
you just have to get permission.
So who is in charge of keeping Voldemort out of the restriction section? Because I get the distinct impression he got in there way before he should have.
Yeah.
If at all. Anyway, I do.
Sometimes magic just happens in these books just for the sake of making it wacky and wizardly, like changing staircases.
Yeah.
That
Serves
became
no
a lot.
point.
That came a lot less of a Okay, going out on a limb here, since most of my ideas are usually thoroughly shot down, not pointing out anybody specifically as I glance viciously between the two people sitting next to me.
If you want to make ideas, you had to be prepared for them to be torn apart viciously and into shreds.
Cool, why don't you toss a couple out here then so I can have the luxury. Anyway.
I only toss out ideas that I've overthought a million times.
Yeah, sure.
Anyway, your idea.
The changing staircases would be an amazing defensive position in terms of anybody trying to invade Hogwarts. Anybody gets into that main tower and everything, you start standing up top and stuff along those lines, start shooting spells down, and the fucking and the stairs keep moving at people. They're like, get back over in that direction. I need to go there, and bang! Like just. All I can think to myself is it would be highly defensive, especially since some people theorize that the reason Hogwarts is the way it is because it was designed as a safe place for magical beings of all natures and stuff in cases of emergencies. I mean, why else would you have a castle as your freaking school rather than a regular building? I mean, like you think about it, the Ministry of Magic is fairly modern considering it's a building inside of London, basically. That's like entirely set up with elevators and all sorts of other like relatively benign and normal things when it comes to a large scale government building. It does strike me as like Hogwarts in like the Harry Potter universe is very set in its ways in a lot of ways, you know. Let's see here. We had the snowball fight. We talked about the Erised.
Harry's
Dumbledore.
presents.
Oh. How much was that worth?
He got a 50 pence piece, and when I was reading this as a kid, my mind automatically was like, oh, okay, so he got a coin that's worth 50 cents. Basically, yes. You translate it over to American dollars, and the Vernon and Petunia say him 63 cents. 63 cents. That's how little they care.
Man,
for
better
Harry.
than 50 cents.
Fair. I mean,
you'd be like, we getting sent a $50.
You're right. The hanger that they send them in later books is probably worth more than that.
Probably.
I wonder. Really depends
Have
on
you
how.
bought hangers? They're expensive.
Usually, you
They
get them
can
in
be.
packs, though.
Yeah, but they're still annoying.
Or maybe the old socks that he gets in book.
I never really understood why they bothered at all. Also, they'd have to send it with Hedwig.
That might be why.
Well,
Could you imagine if Hedwig shows up and stuff along those lines? It's like, it's Christmas, you're gonna get him something. And could you imagine being menaced
That's
by...
the only reason, because Hedwig pecks them?
Hedwig menaces them over the course of, leading up to Christmas, basically. And they're just like, fine, take this.
Present.
Here, it's something, go. And, Hedwig's like, well, all right. I have no idea how human presents are, so if you say this is a present, it's a present.
Well, I mean, they'd be wrapped. Theoretically.
I was looking up the shape of the wizard money, because in the book it says that Ron's fascinated by the shape of it because a 50 pence piece is like an octagon or something. I think I have the right shape in mind. But it's not a round coin like we're used to seeing in America. It's weirdly shaped.
But aren't the wizard monies shaped weird?
No, they're all circular. I was gonna give Ron shit because I thought the wizarding money was all shaped weird, but
you know what? I'm thinking of most of the games. In the games, the money is shaped differently.
It's all circular if you look online.
It's one of those things, though. There's a lot of things they did with the early Harry Potter video games and stuff, where they shifted things around to make it more fun as a collectathon and everything. Because I think the first two Harry Potter video games
collect jelly beans and chocolate frogs and stuff. And it's funny, the video games followed the books more than they followed the movies.
Yeah. I know for a fact that I had the Harry Potter Chamber of Secrets Game Boy Color game, and it was a top-down RPG where you played as Harry going through the events of the second book. And I think Peeves is a character and everything. They actually go and talk to what's the ghost professor's name? I can't remember. Binns. Instead of McGonagall like they do in the movies and everything. Because I wouldn't be too surprised if they're for those two games, and maybe the third one, because I think there was a third one for the Game Boy Advance for book 3, and I think that was the last one. those three are actually like they take a lot of inspiration in terms of appearance from the actual books and stuff along those lines. It's probably the closest you're going to get to authentic playthrough of the actual story. Not that like Hogwarts Legacy wasn't a banger of a game. I think they actually are dropping the deal.
Dropped.
Oh, awesome, sweet. So yeah, if you've already hearing this and you haven't heard yet, all of the shit that was exclusive to other consoles is now readily available for all of them. I might have to pick that back up because I got the PlayStation 5 version. Used, by the way. And I can't remember if it came with the DLC stuff.
I'm miscounting the stitches on my thing.
Okay, you had a confused look on your face.
Yes, because my stitches are wrong.
Yeah, she wasn't thinking. She wasn't being confused about my comment. She was being confused about her own projects. Yeah.
What do you think it would feel like to hold the invisibility cloak? Because it's described as shining silvery, strange to the touch, woven like water, and it was like lighter than air, he said.
I would imagine it has a very silk cold feeling. Not like an actual feel of silk. I don't think I've ever actually like felt silk that I liked, but I would imagine almost
smoother
like
than silk, light as air.
Oh man, they'd be like wearing water or something, right?
I feel like it would.
Oh,
like
man.
you would be able to. I feel like you would feel it like a gentle breeze on your skin, but like you wouldn't really know it's there unless you're like hypersensitive and like clothes weird you out or something.
Yeah. Let us know if anybody actually came from a nudist colony or something along those lines, if that description checks out.
Like, obviously we go back, we discuss Harry Potter, and then we're like, yeah, Dumbledore was in on everything from the start, but then you, like, reread it, and you're, like, analyzing every chapter, and it's like, he clearly wanted Harry to find that mirror and everything, because he gave him the cloak and said, use it well. On Christmas.
Oh man, like that whole like conversation with Harry as he realized I have the entire school to myself basically with this. You could almost see James Potter coming back from the freaking grave and being like,
"That's my boy.
That's my boy." Like Lily's personality is clearly the one Harry got between both of his parents and stuff, but every now and then James rears his head up and everything. But like that whole like description and like sensation and everything, it's one of those rare occasions where Harry feels like an actual kid. Like like these are the thoughts I would expect an 11-year-old to have if he had access to an entire freaking castle to himself, more or less.
No,
like,
if I had an entire castle to myself at 11 years old and nobody could see me, yeah, I feel like I'd go to the library. I wasn't wait, hold on. Wait, here's what happened to my ADHD brain. I had a thought belittling Harry because of what do I do, and then realized, nope, that's what I would do as an adult. As an 11-year-old, yes, I would 100% would go to the library. But I would not do it for the restricted section because I was not a rule-breaking little shit like my brother was.
You would read all the books.
I would just read all the books. Now, as an adult, kitchen.
Ooh. Oh, man. Could you...
And I thought I was the pothead.
Oh,
no,
man.
I'm hypoglycemic.
That too.
Oh, man. Could you... Like, the kitchen raids would be awesome. You know... Oh,
hey, Fred and George do kitchen raids, and they don't even need an invisibility cloak.
Come on, it's
they
even more fun.
They bribe the house elves, let's be real.
They didn't
They
bribe
don't bribe them. They're willing to serve.
I think Ron made a comment about it.
Don't tell Hermione that.
Ron made a comment about it when they finally got to go in there. I think in book 4. Yeah, it was the year. Yeah, that was when they met
it was 4,
Winky.
That was Winky
they were in there, and Ron made a comment. It's like, I used to be so impressed by all the food that the twins would bring back and everything, and I was so impressed. And they're like, they're practically giving it away.
They were like piling their hands with stuff. I forgot about that.
How did I end up?
Honestly, I just like the idea of Fred and George bribing the house elves to get loads of food.
It seems like something they would do.
It's exactly something they would do.
Like, I have to admit though, like this has definitely been one of the more enjoyable chapters because I have nothing but good things to say about it. The whole like, and to be honest, like they're like. there's like plenty of people that have talked about like it and everything, but Harry even mentions at the end of this book and everything that he thinks that Dumbledore wanted to give him a shot at Voldemort and everything. It's
Like payback.
Yeah.
That would make sense.
And it also helps explain why so many of the defenses of the actual stone are first year
easily beaten by a child.
Yeah.
I mean, you got the mirror at the end of this and everything.
But he also,
Voldemort's not getting the stone.
To be fair, even some of the things that they do wouldn't necessarily be easy for an adult. Not all wizards are good at flying. Would Accio would have worked?
I don't think it. I think they tried that. No, wait.
They don't know how to do that.
Well,
They tried.
We'll find out.
We can go over all of them, but I don't think that they actually. We say, oh, it was easy for these. It wasn't exactly easy. They had a team to do it together.
Yeah.
But imagine a single adult trying to do it. And they mentioned that, like...
The Devil's Snare? Fuck me.
Yeah, that is kind of...
Fuck me.
To be fair, though, I think the Devil's Snare was put in there specifically because I feel like Dumbledore was expecting Neville to be in on this as well.
That's fair. That boy is into plants.
That is a good... That's fair.
I can't wait till we get that whole...
He would have known instantly.
He would have.
Oh, no doubt. Like, that guy's... Like,
imagine how different the books would have been if Neville had actually been included in the group.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's necessarily for the best, considering the last time the group of 4 troublemakers got together.
We have Marauders map.
Well, no. Well, one of them turned into Peter.
Which, that reminds me. There was a comment you made while we were listening to the story about the mice from the Christmas crackers that ran off, and Harry's like, yeah, those are probably going to be Mrs. Norris's dinner. And you're like... Dark thought. Scabbers has made it how many years in this fucking castle not getting eaten by Mrs. Norris?
I don't think he ever really left the room, though. The only time he did that we know for sure was, like, book 3. When he went missing.
That's because he's never brought up until then, really. Like, briefly.
He's mentioned at the beginning of book 1, and I think there was a couple of comments about Scabbers being, like, on the bed or something along those lines.
Yeah, it's like at the end of this chapter, he remembers shoving Scabbers off his pillow.
That's weird. Why in the world would a grown-ass man in rat form be sleeping on Harry's freaking pillow?
In all fairness, doesn't Sirius say at some point you kind of lose yourself if you're in your animagus form for too long?
I think he did, because then he was as... Padfoot for a while, and then he was like, he came out of it, and he was like itching, like from the fleas or whatever.
Yeah, I think so. Maybe he was just like so deep in the Scabbers mode, he wasn't really thinking about it.
Oh man, I can understand why Sirius Black did what he did, though. Could you imagine just getting the newspaper one day and finding out that the person who's responsible for the death of your best friend and his wife
was another of your friends?
And
Justified.
he was hanging out inside the school where you knew that their son was at and everything within striking distance.
You know what's crazy to me? Sirius assumed that Peter was dead, right?
No.
I thought he assumed that he was dead in the explosion.
No, he knew damn well he got tricked.
Oh,
That's
okay.
why he was laughing like a lunatic and everything when he was caught.
Everyone else assumed that.
Then never mind.
Because I think in book 3, Sirius says that he turned into a rat and went down the sewers.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Also, we have so much to go over in book 3. Freaking wizard justice system.
Oh, man. To be perfectly honest, we also have similar things in, I think, book 6? No, book 5. Book 5, they also deal with, like, all of the other...
Harry's legal troubles?
Yeah, and I think there was also when we have to deal with the hippogriff in book 3 as well, with the whole shtick in that department. It's one of those things where it's like, we start to really, like, delve into some of the details of how, like, the adult wizarding world goes, and... Since we're going through the books and everything, we're really going to see more of, like, Ron's, like, stuff and everything.
I don't have anything else to go over for this chapter.
Yeah, we've kind of, like, run our course on this one.
Yeah.
We could replace Harry with a wide-mouthed tree frog next.
Wow, what a wonderful freaking insult you have there, Malfoy. Did you steal it from your dad? Because it's about as dated as he is. I can't wait for like Harry to start snapping back on some of these because like I feel like over the course of book one, Harry is not being nearly as sassy as he should be when it comes to Malfoy
He
shenanigans.
probably doesn't know how to act. Not gonna lie, I'm excited for book 4.
He's also very much usually just not engaging with his bully, Dudley. Like, sure, he makes some sassy comments when he knows he can get away, but for the most part, he's mostly just don't engage, don't be around them, and it'll be okay.
This is one of those things.
Don't give in to him. Yeah.
This is one of those things where I'm really curious as to what Harry Potter personality would be if he got like his parents and got to live his life and everything.
Yeah.
Like, what kind? Like, how much of a menace
He'd be
do you
exactly
think?
like James.
Oh, I feel like if nothing
Well,
else, he'd be taking on
almost,
a lot. He'd be
almost.
taking a lot more of those sassy traits. So I could see
He would not.
a
I
well-loved.
don't think he would be standing for any of Malfoy's shit.
Oh, absolutely not.
Because
Malfoy
one,
would have a black eye before the end of the first year. I'd
Because
put money on
one,
it.
And it wouldn't be James who told him to do
it would be Lily.
It would be Lily.
Because Lily's not gonna stand for that bullshit.
Oh,
We don't tolerate
man.
bullying in this house.
We do tolerate beating up the bully though with this one.
All right, I think we need to wrap up. We're rambling again.
Fair enough. But to be fair, we are talking about how Harry would be acting in first year in terms
That's
of
fair. That's
so
fair.
I feel like this is still close to on Tarvik. All right, so if anybody wants to plug their shit real quick, I will go first since I usually force the girls to go first. As a true gentleman should, I suppose. But I'm
Horse
currently
shit.
mean.
What'd you say?
I said horse shit.
Hey, Griffin shit. Stay on top.
So you can find me at Luna's Creation Corner on all social media.
Cole Sanders on Twitch. I'm currently playing through Final Fantasy VII, but I've been jumping on to multiverses on occasion and Dead by Daylight.
Brandy Wine Stitches on YouTube for all of my cross-stitch things, and Hockeytown Candle Co. on all the other social medias for my small business where I sell sway candles.
Awesome. I believe that wraps everything up. Please like, subscribe, comment, tell me where I'm wrong in the comments and stuff, so that way Kimmy doesn't feel so alone in her, calling me
Calling
wrong.
you out.
Yeah.
Until
She needs the support. My ego needs to be kept in check.
get a pin, poke it.
Oh my.
Until next time, keep your wands at the ready.